They say your neighbors can make or break your life. Mine tried to destroy it with one phone call. So if you're watching this, hit that subscribe button now, because what you're about to hear is the insane true story of how my HOA's biggest Karen called 911, accused me of stealing her brand new car, and ended up watching me drive away in it legally while she screamed in handcuffs. The morning started like any other in the quiet suburban neighborhood where peace was just an illusion and the war ruled like a dictatorship with freshly manicured lawns and a smug sense of power. But I knew the calm wouldn't last because 3 houses down lived Karen. Yes, that was her real name, Queen of the WA, self-appointed law enforcer, and self-proclaimed protector of neighborhood property values, which was just code for nosy, power-hungry, and allergic to minding her own business. And for the past 6 months she had been waging a personal war against me because, in her words, single men with too many tools in the garage attract the wrong crowd, which was just her petty way of saying she didn't like seeing me restore classic cars in my own home. That morning, I opened my garage door to finally bring out my latest pride and joy, a pristine 1969 Mustang Fastback, black with deep crimson racing stripes, fully restored over months of blood, sweat, and busted knuckles. And I swear the second the sunlight hit that polished chrome, Karen came power walking down the street like she had been lying in wait, clutching her WA clipboard like a weapon, eyes locked on my car as if it were a crime scene, and before I could even say, "Good morning," she whipped out her phone, dialed 911 right in front of me, and in her loud, dramatic voice said, "Yes, hello. I need to report a stolen vehicle. Yes, a black Mustang, just bought yesterday by me. Yes, the thief is right here driving it out of my neighbor's garage." And I just stood there, stunned, thinking surely the dispatcher would realize she was unhinged, but Karen had perfected her fake trembling voice over decades of petty complaints, and within 5 minutes 2 squad cars rolled up, lights flashing, officers stepping out with their hands hovering near their holsters, ordering me to step away from the vehicle, and as I tried to explain, Karen went into Oscar-worthy hysterics about how she had signed the paperwork yesterday, how this man broke into her home, and how she had proof in her WA emails, which was absurd because I had owned this car for years, the title and registration in my name. But the twist came when one officer asked her to produce the bill of sale and she whipped out a crumpled printed ad from Facebook Marketplace where someone had listed a Mustang identical to mine, claiming she wired the deposit to hold it until pickup today, only she never met the seller, never saw the car, and was now convinced I was him because my garage fit the vibe of a scammer's lair. I could see the officers starting to realize she had no legal claim, but Karen wasn't done. Oh no, she turned on her crocodile tears full force, screaming about identity theft and forged documents, demanding they impound my car until she could prove ownership. And that's when I played my ace. I walked calmly into my house, came back with the original purchase paperwork, DMV title, and photos documenting the entire restoration process over the past year, each one timestamped and geotagged, including a picture of me towing the rusted shell of this car into my garage 11 months ago. The officers took one look, turned to her, and asked again for her proof, and in a glorious moment of karmic justice, her only receipt was a PayPal transaction to a random username that turned out to be linked to a scammer in another state entirely, meaning she had just admitted, on body cam, to attempting to claim stolen property she never owned. And when the cops politely informed her she had just committed filing a false police report, fraud, and harassment, Karen's face twisted from fake grief to pure rage, pointing at me and screeching, "He's lying. The WA will back me up." But the WA president, who had come over during the commotion, actually sided with me for once because apparently Karen's nonsense had been costing them legal fees for years. Still, she tried to block my driveway, screaming that she wouldn't let a criminal drive away, until the officers finally handcuffed her for obstruction, walked her to the squad car while she hurled threats about lawsuits, and making sure I lost my home, and the whole neighborhood watched in stunned silence as I slid into my Mustang, revved the engine, and drove off, the deep rumble echoing like victory. But here's where the final twist came. 2 weeks later, I learned that the scammer who took her money had been part of a larger investigation, and the FBI had traced several fraudulent transactions directly back to her PayPal because, in her desperation to reserve multiple dream cars, she had sent money to several fake sellers over the past year, some of whom were actually undercover agents running a sting operation, meaning she wasn't just a victim. She had been trying to flip cars illegally for profit using WA insider info on what her neighbors owned, which is how she knew about my Mustang's color, model, and garage location in the first place. She's now facing multiple charges, the HOA has stripped her of her position, and I've become something of a neighborhood legend, the guy who not only beat Karen but also exposed her little side hustle, and every time I open my garage now, people smile and wave instead of glaring. So yeah, next time your neighbor tries to ruin your day with lies, remember this: keep your receipts, keep your cool, and maybe keep a dashcam on your life, because sometimes the only way to shut down a Karen is to let her dig her own grave while you polish the chrome on your victory.